Thanks for being here. I'm Tom Laughlin. I'm coordinator of the Creative Writing Program, and welcome to our first of the semester open poetry and fiction readings. Hand for everybody that's here. Good job. Glad you're here. Never know who's going to show and how many. We only have, I think we have 5 or 6 readers, so we have a little more time to read more. We want a couple other people are not here and may show, so we'll see who sprinkles in over time. Want to mention this event is co-sponsored by the Creative Writing Program and the Office of Student Engagement. Want to thank Maria McDuffie-Clark of the Office of Student Engagement, Dean of Liberal Arts Matt Hurwitz, and English Department Chair Jill Keller for their support. Stina, Jeff Kaplan, and crew from Communications Department reporting this event, and Beth Noel, who's director of our marketing office, that helps us get word out for things. I'm excited to hear some poetry. I think it's mostly poetry today. People may sprinkle in fiction, but I think mostly poetry, so I'm a lover of poetry, so that's great. And this is, Middlesex is in a supportive environment, and we are here to listen and to celebrate student and faculty work, so make some noise, help them out with your support and good listening. Want to note that I'll make some announcements after. There's lots of things going on, but I want to start with our first poet and maybe have everybody give a warm welcome to Elizabeth Mooney. Elizabeth.
When thank you is a daisy sleeping, when remember me is a forget-me-not, when grief is a marigold. Is our language of flowers circles of chiffon, edges curling like witchcraft when held to a lit candlestick? You looked at me, held up one finger, and taught me silent spells to make synthetic roses and carnations. Is our language of flowers bright silk, the petals patterned from your blouse, skim you with tags? I chased circles with fabric shears, held them to the flame, but the magic went wrong, and your blouse, charred black and crumbled between my fingers. Is our language of flowers the bouquet born in my heart as your grandchild, arranged from tender calls years ago, flip phone pressed to my tiny seashell of an ear that echoed the ocean between us, in our broken conversation of, hello, I love you, and I love you, hello, over and over, until the battery is low? Where did our flowers bloom? When I blew through the front door as a surprise, your baby now too big to hold. I met you. I met you once, wrapped the tender trappings of overheard conversations, trilling, tapping tongues, marking you up like fork prongs pressing up against a meat pie. Blood sugar, potassium, oxygen tank, never smoked, chemo. Words that became you. Loan words and cognates lobbed out the kitchen, into the living room where I sit. Your little doll, Muñeca Pequeña, mute, pretending not to know so we can play pretend for the first time. Because that is how I really met you, sitting in silence, mirroring your smile. On the TV played a horror movie where last words were hermetically sealed inside the bubbles made by blood gurgling and choked throats. You clicked subtitles and looked over, closed lips smile soft as a pillow. The conversation in the kitchen wrapped. Everyone gasped and stole the remote from you. Why would you watch something so horrible, you delicate rose, in a rocking flower pot, breathing in machine oxygen, and play it for the strange doll, the Alicia in Wonderland, and blue pinstripes and matching bow? You pointed to me, I pointed to you. In our laughter, understanding blooms. We both tremble like shaking leaves in the dark, but we endure, delicately, for those we love. Is our language of flowers in our final embrace? When I said, I'll be back, and I hoped you understood my lie. Could you feel it? The garden of unsaid things, when my racing heart pressed against yours. A garden is a garden, an island, an empty seat, a place without you. Though I try to reach through the thin veil, wondering if you and I are still smiling quietly, mouths sealed shut as if with mud. Our hearts a cage for all our flowers. If I speak to the air that robbed you, do you understand me? Or do you think a lone stem shoots past the cage bars so your nose brushes against my foreign petals, and you will smell my heart, fragrant and beautiful? Is our language of flowers not written in the funeral bouquet with the daisy sleeping, forget-me-nots and marigolds, but in the cut and paste job from the dictionary of words I can't pronounce, but still place inside the ribcage of everything I do, to grow in Eden, plant a paradise of words for you. Yay!
Thanks for kicking us off with the wonderful poem, Elizabeth. Our next reader is Nick Hogan. Nick.
This is a poem named Skin Deep. Do you ever think of the summer? The sun would bake us golden brown, so we would ache in the night, sunburnt skin on sunburnt skin. It's winter now. Your cold hands touch but never hold my now pale body. How many he loves me not can I do before the hanahaki sets in? How many times can kinky love play before I turn it off entirely? I am tied to the cruel comforts of your skin. I hope just once you will allow me to explore something deeper, sucking up the air in your lungs, infesting your stomach walls, and making residence in your mind, my weight crushing it down, leaving nothing behind. Let me ravage you so I can bandage you up. Let us congeal a fracture, leaving crevices to climb through in our porcelain skin.
Thank you, Nick. Our next reader is Monty Starks. Monty.
Hi everyone. This is a haiku I had quickly made. It's very, maybe try not to relate to it. Please let me pass. I'm trying to get home quickly. Stop going so slow.
Monty, we've all been there. Neat haiku. Our next reader is Joe Nardoni. It's your turn.
How the heck are you guys today? All right, that's the way it should be. All right. This first one, I've got 3 ekphrastic poems for you. Ekphrastic poems are poems written about other works of art, and I do this a lot. These works of art were displayed at the, the 9th annual poetry conversions held at the Loading Dock Gallery in Lowell. I've been doing that for 11 years now. And I wrote one poem about both of those artworks by the artist Jeanette Staley. I always like to give credit to the artist whose works I'm riffing off of. I call this Extinction Event. Part 1, Flamingos might outlast us. I know why people line dance and why we do it so badly. We have to learn it, while flamingos do their stiff, stick, shallow water shuffle together, with mouths that speak backwards tilted to the sky, stretching necks like guillotine seekers to the last pirouette, cut water rugs and scoop algae shrimp hors d'oeuvres from bottom muck, turning backhoe maneuvers into kinetic art, while flocking like a giant Christmas tree, shaking and snaking along the shoreline until everyone finds the mate that catches lifelong red-eye fantasy. When we line dance, Men slowly filter to the side like brackish water, refresh their drinks or tilt way back, licking beer dregs out of long necks. One eye on flowing skirts, tap a foot or two, then settle back to tables, waiting for the strobes to release their dates. Eyes turning red while blowing smoke, pretending they're not jealous. It takes men longer to figure out what dancing together is all about. Part 2. Passenger pigeons tasted too good. Red breasts shining next to nests like happy tenements in a tree. Only chicks, their progeny. They liked to coo together and needed flaps of ruffled feather, a come-on to get it on in avian orgy. They knew what free love really was, despite what hippies claimed. Billions strong, they flowed in flocks for days, nature's wing-beat sunstroke. Hawks took their share right out of the air, and owls swooped their roosts at night, while weasels and their skunky cousins carried them off while they ate, and tree snakes stole their eggs. Still, their mighty burbles could make the forest hum, and all the snares first people hung made no decibel difference. Then came guns, and pale wise men who knew no natural philosophy, but counted pigeons endless in commodity, easy targets in endless flocks spinning in feathered circles, right into shot we didn't have to aim. So we bet how many would fall like rain as we fired into the black skies. We filled train cars with feathered coal, keeping our bellies warm, our crops full, while Tammany bosses gorged on duck and oysters and squab, and tenement rats ate pigeon pie. I wandered into a gallery today, saw two pigeons kissing, the gaudy male in pink and blue, the female demure in brown, cast upon a sepia background, a tale of loss profound. We hunger in a purgatory we built as skyscraper stories of commodified brick, bread, and stock, and dreams of owning everything cut off from knowing nature, except in hikes of leisure along banks of a polluted stream. In spite of our manifest hunger flowing from sea to shining sea, we saved the bison just in time, restored some wolves in Yellowstone, and redeemed the land gone barren. And maybe we saved a whale or two and dolphins by the netful, but the passenger pigeon has gone our way, so far away, our history is forgetful of how they once fed nations who honored them with stories and never mistook their molting chicks for crackered, crunchy novelties. And I fear, slow learners that we are, that when the bluefin disappear, we'll be eating bottom feeders and lose our line on dancing art. All right, and this is a painting that's called Whose Woods These Are, and it's by Monica Cote. And in this poetry convergence, a different one, what the idea was that the artist took a poem and wrote a painting to the poem. And so this artist, painted the Robert Frost poem, Whose Woods These Are, I think they know, right? I think it's like stopping by woods in a snowy evening, right? For many years, I have taught another poem by Robert Frost called Mending Wall. And so what I did was I ended up combining those two poems into talking about this painting. Okay, and I call this poem Snow Secrets, If Frost Had Lived Past His Time. Whose woods these were, I used to know, trees standing naked in the snow, slanting towards the lacy ice-boned lake. He used to live in the village below, behind fine pickets that sifted snow and arbor clapboards with cutout window, double gaslight glow. Cousin of curmudgeon I'd meet to mend dumb walls with every spring. And perhaps it's true to say I knew the man in town and liked him better than his distant brother in those summer months when the woods hung dark green shade along my windings there, where I'd see him of a morning sweating round a hummock in humid air, placing stones with such great care. I'd nod in passing by, I had no shovel. Once a year I come here now, while engine coughs and idles, where my horse had jangled sleigh bells standing in the snow. I wait a while, longing for winter sun's waning grip, trees blurring wetly in random flakes, joints aching like alarm clocks, smelling elbow liniment as moonrise cast blue mysteries over all the humps that lay before the barren snow trunks. Damned memory that draws me back like a moth to brightly mordant grief. A woman in a red hood cloak, waving dimpled at my gate, passing by along the path to a man with a darker leaf, who even now in blizzard justice still lives so far behind a fence of gray concrete and razor wire, there's no reason to inquire of his health. And I, having let her take that other path, tore my thin, wise skin in wisdom's age of morning, a red cloak twisted in a tree branch above a new-turned hummock. Sometimes it scrapes your heart to know your neighbor's part in life. It's then good fences make good neighbors. I won't sleep tonight. Got one more. And this is a painting called Hard. And one of the things I like to do in responding to, actually not a painting, collage, in responding to an artwork is I like to use some elements from it, as you've noticed, I think, and try to talk about them and relate them into a story. And so this is one I call, same title as the painting, Hard. After my husband died, preacher, and all the hard scrabble farmers scraped my hands with their lost calluses, the lucky ones sharing a few potatoes pocked with rough lesions, I held the Bible in my hand, hungry for some word to return me to that state of grace when the bread of life burst into the world beyond its story, and we believed that 160 acres could make a homestead. Before my first three died in childbirth, alone and gone in the darkness before the midwife arrived, before Franny caught the consumption and coughed up her blood-clouded lungs, her pinafore turned red like she'd been slaughtering hogs, bled through onto the one nice dress she'd ever had, yellow like the daffodils we were never able to grow, the one we buried her in, before my husband lost his foresight, staring up at the cruel clouds that tempted us, then floated right after them, leaving his body behind. And our last horse lay dead and caked in hardened dust, with nary a tower of fire or pillar of salt for guidance. When there's nothing left to sweep away, and bits of me fly out the door with every double wrist flick, my teeth screeching with dust like an evicted owl, preacher. Don't tell me my worn-down soul has grown hard. There's no godly mystery here. Life is just plain mean.
Thanks so much, Joe. Wonderful, contrasting poems. Our next reader is Michelle Whalen. Michelle.
All right, so hi everybody, I'm Michelle Whalen. I had a professor here for a couple classes 2 semesters ago and the semester ago. And then I have Professor Bennett with my classmates over here as well. And we've been studying sort of the breakdown of language. And so these 2 poems are a play on some of the exercises we've been doing with that, using less language, breaking it down to the basics. It's very tribalistic, the whole book that we're studying. So just to give you an idea of why I wrote this. The first one will be apparently in the back of the file. It is. I'll read this one first, it's a little bit more fun. It's called A Walking Event. First steps are taking, what a joyous event. Humans does what human is supposed to do, celebration and praise. Second nature is to walk faster, run. Human does it because human can. Strength and independence. Third place may as well be last. It's not the winner. Human feels shame because of other humans. Fourth life out of 9, my legs would not walk again. Humans just glad I'm still alive. Survival and gratitude. A fifth of vodka every other day is what I told my therapy mates. Humans deal in any way they can find. Depression and shame. A sixth sense is what I had. It helped me get through. Humans don't understand me, only some. Determination and confidence. Seventh heaven is what I felt when I had hope again. Humans helped me walk, they helped me talk. Pride and joy. Walked more. Celebration and praise. Walked from Waltham to Brighton. Strength and independence. 9 weeks of physical therapy from trying to run. Reality check and perseverance. 10 is a lovely round number. It pleases my OCD. Humans no longer affect me anymore. I affect them. Closure and rebirth. This was written in the future, but now it's in the past, so I'm going to change the date. Boston, August 2027, let's say. Dr. I's office. I could hear, and this is in quotes, so it's the character speaking. I could hear my mother and my father arguing at the other end of the apartment. That was pretty normal, but this time I heard my mother run closer towards the bedroom, which was right next to our bedroom front door in the kitchen. She unlocked the deadbolt and I heard the storm door swing open. Then I heard my father's footsteps run from the kitchen and out the door. I just remember the slam of the metal and the sounds of the springs while I could hear my mother yelling for help. That's all I remember. And where were you at that point? Dr. I asked Vivian. As she moved her finger left to right and right to left repeatedly in front of Vivian's eyes, and Vivian tracked her eye movement. I was on the top bunk above my brother, who was just taller than. He was a heavy sleeper and he never woke up during that fight. I was sitting up in my bed trying to listen when Erica came into our bedroom and stood at my bed to talk to me in the dark. I was still sitting up high up in my bunk and I was glad to see her there. She said everything was okay and I told her, and she told me she was going to stay with me a while my mother talked to the police. I could see the lights from my bedroom window. Honestly, I was kind of excited, but I was confused too. Dr. I asked, is Erica a friend? Or, yeah, she was cool. She's the one who told me the ghost's name the first night I saw him. She was one of the favorites in that family. Her and Nadine, they were the best. Can you imagine though, all 10 kids all grown up and most of them still living upstairs together? I can't even. Nope. Tell me about the fight, Dr. I interrupted. Did you hear anything after your mother and father ran out of the house? Vivian described how she heard her mother screaming after running out of the front door and that she was yelling for help all the way around the house. And that her bedroom, was underneath the stairs that ran up the backside of the house, and she could hear the entire thing. She told Dr. I how her father chased her after her mother, and she heard his feet stomping so fast up the steps and through the mudroom above Vivian's in her brother's bed. I felt sick all of a sudden. Vivian explained to Dr. I that she heard the whole family upstairs screaming, "Get off her!" and that there were banging noises and then silence. A few agonizing seconds passed before she heard feet stomping back down the stairs again. It was her father running away before the police got there. What happened after that, Dr. I asked. That was when Erica came down to our bedroom that I told you about, Vivian told her. How long did she stay there, Dr. I asked Vivian. Not too long, replied Vivian. It all started after my bedtime, and I remember looking at the clock when Erica left, and it was after midnight. I do remember that. And what did you and your mother do after Erica left? After the cops and Erica left, my mother asked me to lie on the couch with her, which I did, of course. I was scared. My mother knew DV wasn't a problem back then. They didn't take it seriously. It was the 80s, you know? And they always released the men back onto the streets after telling them to go cool off somewhere. They didn't want the extra paperwork over a simple marital fight. That's how they saw it back then. Did she tell you that he might come back? No, but I knew. How? Dr. I inquired. She had me lay down on the couch in front of her and she put her arms around me. I was her shield. She knew that he wouldn't lay a hand on me, Vivian said with a touch of pride in her voice. She knew that, Dr. I asked? Did you know that, Dr. I asked? No, I did not, Vivian said matter-of-factly. Dr. I paused to recognize Vivian's trauma. I'm so sorry that happened to you. It is what it is, Vivian quipped. Silence filled the next 10 seconds while Dr. I took notes on her computer and Vivienne picked at her fingernails. Okay, Vivienne, we wrap up this session, but I would like to give you some homework assignments to do before next week. It's a writing exercise I'd like to give to you for some real thought before you attack it. Oh, and I almost forgot, I have a brand new research study I'd like you to participate in, if you're willing. If I'm willing, Viv asked with a half smile and head tilt before making direct eye contact with Dr. I while shaking her head. And that's the end of the chapter.
Thank you, Michelle. Thanks to all our readers. I'm going to finish with a few poems of my own. In February, we lost a powerful voice in the poetry community, a poet, translator, scholar, teacher, former poet laureate of Boston, and someone who read in this very spot 3 years ago in our Visiting Writer Series, Danielle Legro George. I'd like to begin reading one of her poems. And this poem was originally written in response to a 2013 ruling by the Dominican Republic Constitutional Court that stripped citizenship of Dominican-born and people who did not have a parent or grandparent before 1929 living in the Dominican Republic, and it mostly affected Haitians who were Dominicans who were of Haitian descent. But I think that this poem speaks also to our very disturbing times now. A stateless poem. If you are born and you are stateless, if you are born and you are homeless, if your state and home are not yours, and yet everything you know, what are you? Who are you? And who am I without the dark fields I walk upon, the streets I know, the blue corners I call mine, the ones you call yours? Who am I to call myself citizen and human and free? And who are you to call yourself landed and grounded and free? And who is judge enough? Who native? Who other? And who are we who move so freely without accents of identification, without skin of identification, with all manner of identification, with gold seals of approval, with stamps of good fortune, with the accident of blameless birth? Who are we to be so lucky? And Guadeloupe is an island in the Caribbean, French territory. This short poem is called Guadeloupe Mornings for Danielle. Passion fruit juice begins each day, breakfasting with you beside beach, palms, and pelicans, twisting to dive for their morning catch. Bougainvillea, espresso, and honeydew mingle while sleepy cats and a hen with her 3 chicks wander between tables to find your face lit up like this Caribbean sun. And Joe's ekphrastic poems got me thinking about my own ekphrastic work. And this poet in Boston, Wendy Drexler, and a Cambridge visual artist, Connie Sains, a couple of years ago, invited poets and visual artists to try and pair up and collaborate in some shape or form. And I ended up taking up the call and suggesting Matt Carano, who is a friend of mine, a Somerville painter. And we have been collaborating. I have been writing poems in response to his paintings, and he's been painting in response to my poems. This is a painting of his called The Neighborhood. And this poem is going to be published next month in Touchstone magazine, which is a poetry Society of New Hampshire magazine. The neighborhood, in response to Matt Carano's painting, The Neighborhood. Afternoon sun greets the red chimney, warming it gently before rolling down the house's brown roof, stroking the shed's reddish roof to play in the asphalt courtyard. It peeks in a window, brushes up a tuft of green blades, a triangle of slow movement. An orange chipped side door waits for the slope of evening rays. Two faded blue aluminum-sided rentals have had their fill and ready themselves for sleep, basking in a cool shadow. There's a crack in the asphalt, considering a stretch. A feathery drape 2 stories up shyly watches, waiting. And I've had some luck in the last few weeks, and this is a poem that was just accepted 2 weeks ago by a magazine, online magazine, Zone 3. The Ade River is a river that goes around in Switzerland, that goes around the city of Bern, and people, there's walkways and handles all along it, and people jump in the river and float and swim, and it's very popular in and out, and there's an amazing park along the edges of one side of it with many fields and music and all sorts of things that happen there. So I was on a visit to Switzerland with my daughter, and this poem is called Swimming the Ade for Mia. I'm not as good a swimmer as you think, you said, so you carried the pink noodle we found finally upstairs in a downtown Bern department store, a cheap children's toy, but one that would do the job in the rapid river. The evening before, you were busy phoning friends back home to secure your first apartment, our hotel windows open to the late sun and street bustle below, buses jogging over cobblestone streets, sidewalk cafe laughter, and a tour group's excited chatter outside the medieval arcades, sushi bars, and Piaget watch shops. So I grabbed my bathing suit and knapsack, finding the way past historic Parliament buildings and brightly painted fountains, down the funicular, through the Marzili neighborhood to the river park's acres of green, with picnicking families and lovers, sunbathers beside 7 swimming pools, volleyball games, musicians strumming beneath shade trees, and stone steps at regular intervals along the river. I'd questioned locals about river safety, entrances and exits before walking a mile barefoot for a cool jump and rushing ride back to the plush summer playground. Together this morning, we followed the route past parliaments and fountains, down the funicular, through Marzili to the green of the busy river park, where I rented a locker to secure our clothes, towels, jewelry, and Swiss francs. On our mile stroll upstream, we watched others, and I pointed out bends in the river, strategies for shallow spots, and egresses with their red railings. When you were ready, we stepped slowly to the river and pushed off together into the flow, your pink noodle beneath your arms. The river currents had other ideas for us, but I angled my body with or against the river's course, swimming forward or slowing down to remain close. Approaching the park, I reviewed exit options, then led you to a side passage under a footbridge to gently flow into a calm basin where wide steps took us to the sunny lawns again. After the divorce, years earlier, distracted, I hadn't listened closely, observed carefully, done advanced reconnaissance to ease your steps into changing waters. I want so badly to swim back in time, to listen, observe, provide maps and instructions, hold out a firm hand in storms and rapids, find buoys when you are over your head, guide you toward calmer waters and solid steps to sunshine, green grass, and melodies calling you to dance. I want a big round of applause for all our readers today. Thank you. And thank you for the listening audience. Thank you. I want to mention, first off, Michelle, who read, is officer in our Writers Wonderland Creative Writing Club. And their meetings are 2:30 on Tuesday.
Tuesdays
I
at
have it.
2:30
Yep.
in the yellow trustees building, which is like kind of to the right or in front of, if you're looking at the North Academic building.
It's through the window.
It's okay,
It's right
right?
there.
So I was like disoriented, where are we?
Through the window.
Yes, it's that one, it's right there.
So, yeah, if you're interested, 2:30 on Tuesdays, any creative writers. Wanted to mention, and there's a flyer and information, there's a QR code, by the way, on the wall that will take you to the Creative Writing Program website. There's also our literary magazine, Dead River Review, so read other students and faculty's work, and poetry and music, and fiction, and photos, and all sorts of wonderful things. And if you are someone who is an artist of any kind, please consider submitting. We'd love to have your work, and that gets published every spring semester. Michelle was one of the editors of the past issue, so talk to
We
her.
had 2 pieces of art last year, so bring it on, photography, art, sculpting, whatever, anything that's creative and artistic, or bring it on.
A few different things going on coming up. Oh, I think I went by one, sorry. There is another open poetry and fiction reading on our little campus on November 5th. So consider that or talk to others. There is in this room our visiting writer series reading with Frederick Reichen, who has he's a novelist with multiple books translated into multiple languages. He teaches at Emerson College, and he's going to be here to read his work and talk and answer questions and give you tastes of things. And we're going to give away a few of his books, so you might win a book by him. Also, what else do we have coming up? Another thing is we have on that same day, November 19th, that night, we have the Middlesex Night at the Entitled Open Mic, which happens in Lowell at the Dragonfly Café, regularly on the first and third Wednesday of the month. But that is an open mic, and there's a featured reader, and that featured reader is Joe Nardoni. So he will be sharing his work for probably about a half-hour open mic then for Middlesex students and people all over who come. It's a very popular reading series there, and there's food and fun, so please come. Other things happening. Trying to think what else we got. Coming up for anyone who might be interested, this was a surprise opportunity, so there are a couple different opportunities coming up, especially creative writers. Jess is going to be visiting a creative writing class next week at 12:30, and he's going to be zooming in virtually. If you're a creative writer and interested, he is an amazing poet, Pulitzer Prize winner. His book of poetry, Olio, in 2017 won the Pulitzer, the best book of poetry for the year. He's going to be visiting that class, reading and talking about his work and answering questions for creative writers. So if you're interested, let me know, email me, and I can get you connected there. They're open to having other visitors come. There's also, on that same day, there's also a reading. This is a memoir by a first-generation student and now works in academia and has a memoir about her life and experiences. Her name is Dr. Reese Miles, and that's happening right afterwards in Lowell in the Academic Arts Center. So please consider that. And also, that may be it in terms of our announcements and things coming up. Do check out our website, and it has readings and events. Again, if you use that QR code and zip in on that, there's lots of good things happening on campus. And again, Hope to see you at other things, but thank you so much for being here today, and help yourself to refreshments and chat with the writers, and again, have a great rest of the day, and thanks for being here. One more round of applause for all of you. Thank you.